Oh no, what's going on? Oh my, oh my, oh my. Oh no. Hello. Yes. Hello. 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 It's me. I can do like that. It's me, beautiful me, sitting here waiting for you all to join this special, very, very special, very, very, oh, it's so special. It's so special. My name is not Mario. No. It's me, Mario. No, it's not. It's me, Leif. Every time I joke about Mario from yeah, you know, Mario Brothers, Mario Bros, and all those games, I also feel a little guilty because I have, yeah, I can call him a friend. At least he's friendly. We are kind of far away friends, maybe. And he is called Mario, and he's from Italy. So I feel a little like guilty because, yeah. But everyone should know it's Mario. Enough about that. What is this all about? All about? It's all about me checking the audio first. Yeah, I can hear myself. Sadly, I hate my voice. I hate my voice. I would like to have a better voice. Better look, better voice, better health, better money. I would like to have lots of things better. But this is what I have to work with. What is this all about? It's not about me complaining about myself. It's about ham radio, one of my hobbies. I have plenty of hobbies that I do. Streaming is one of them, but that is more and more growing. I like to make music, as you may know by now, or if you're new, you may see that is something going on with music. I like computers, doing stuff with computers, game servers and so on, and I like games. But also one hobby I have is ham radio. And no, it's not a radio built out of ham. Even though I like to eat also, as you may see when I stand up, sadly. Bacon is fine, that's ham. But yes, it's not a radio built by a ham, no. It is not. It's also called amateur radio. And I stream some things here now and then on the channel. Yeah, it is. Yeah, from the radio, stuff I do on the radio, and that I wanted to explain a little bit, but also talk a little bit about the hobby, spread it a little bit, and so you people understand a little more about it. And if you're not too shy, you can ask questions and so on. And I am in this hobby. I think I still can count myself as quite new. You need a license to operate a ham radio, amateur radios. You can, here in Sweden at least, you can buy one, you can own one, you can listen to it, but you can never press the button and talk. You are not allowed to do that. Yeah. Then you need a license. You need to take you need education and yeah, write a test or two tests and so on. And I am quite new still, even though time goes. I took my license 2013 in the autumn. And yes, of course, I can't say I'm super new, but there have been people like that is 80 years and has been this as they were like 15 and so on. So comparing to those, I'm quite new. I have the interest for radio I have had all my life, almost. Where I started out with listening to CB radio. That was also when I grew up licensed. Now it's free. Everyone can buy one and use one. And I've been on CB radio or private radio, or whatever it may be called. CB radio is most common, I think. And that is on a special band, 11 meter band or 27 megahertz. Yes, we are going to talk a little. This is not going to be super complicated. No, I'm going to talk a little bit, but about how I started. That's what I'm doing now, and so on. And I'm also going to talk a little in general of this hobby, and I'm going to talk more about what you used to see here when I stream with all the pages and stuff. But I'm not going to go into super detail. This is not, you're not going to be an amateur radio operator after watching this. It's not that purpose to be, oh, and then you take this and do that and blah, blah, blah. You see, hopefully, what I mean. So, yes, this is, but I will be a little distracted because there was some problem in the beginning. I scheduled this for once. Hooray! And what happened? Yeah, things messed up. I scheduled it from the software I'm streaming with, and then I started stream, but that started a new stream with total other information. So that messed up. So I had like 12 people waiting in that, and I like, oh, 12 people waiting. Now it's only 4 because lots of them don't understand what happened because I killed that stream. So now I need to go and inform on some sites, Facebook, that it changed the address and so on. So yeah. I'm writing. I'm trying to hurry. Don't stress me. So there we go. Now I have informed on that also. So ta-da! I have done that. Now I'm going through puberty, I think. Yes, we are going to talk about the hammer. Yes, it is like this. It has a little history. Some of you have seen Ulf, my friend. Yeah, if you watched the cameras earlier today, you may have seen him. Me and him were up at the remote station. I will explain that a little more later. And did some work on the antennas there after the storm. He is. We've been friends for a long time, and he is a ham radio operator. sorry, I always do that. You should know that by now. If you're a regular viewer, that is. Yeah, he also is interested in CB radio. He has, I think he started with that, but he has been a radio amateur for many, many years. And damn, I look so weird in my hair, but never mind. And I always thought it was interesting, and I had listened to it. I had like a special radios under a period where I listened to world radio also and so on. My favorite was in Radio Luxembourg, so I had like a little more advanced radio where I listened to AM radio and so on, and shortwave and long wave and all that. And I had the interest for CB radio, but I started to tease my friend Ulf that, oh, why do you need so much radios? And I said it was so stiff. There is you should talk in a special way. There's lots of shortenings and so on. It's like, and on CB radio it's like, hello, how are you, blah blah blah. You talk, yeah, you of course you should talk nicely and so on, but it's more relaxed. And I teased him, and he said, yeah, but you should blah 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 blah. You should go. You should do this. You should be an amateur radio operator as well, and so on. And since I have teased him so much, I couldn't really admit that. Yeah, maybe I should. I moved down south to South Sweden, and this is way, yeah, it's like 17 years ago. And I also had the interest of CB. I started again. It's gone up and down with that interest. When I had girlfriends, I had other interests and so on. But I always came back to that, and bigger and more each time. So I've friends down in South Sweden, where I lived back then, started to talk about, shouldn't we take the license for a ham radio? Do it with me. I don't want to do it myself. And he kind of pushed me, and I'm happy for that because, yeah, here I am. We took it together, took the courses and did the tests and passed after second time. And that was fun because I don't have the reading head. Because I can't focus that long on read. It's yeah, and math. I'm a total moron when it comes to math, and since I have that in my back of my head, it isn't complicated math, but for me, it was a stressful. So I failed on one. There's two-parter. It was back then at least two-part of the test. I nailed the first one, but the math I got. So I failed that, and I thought, yeah, that's the end of that. But my friend, he also failed. Luckily for me, because he failed, but not in the technique part where the math. He failed where I succeed. So we were like, so we trained together, and next time no problem, because then I were more relaxed. I was, hey, for fuck's sake, it's not about life. I can, if I fail again, I can do it again. I had another, yeah, what is it called? I had another thoughts about it. I went in with another approach to it. So. And then, when I were relaxed, it was no problem. Yes, that's the story how I got into this. And I'm doing something called contests, where we compete in this. Have gone quite good, even with little limited resources, antennas and so on, home build with fishing poles, and I even broke some Swedish record and so on. So it has been quite okay. Could have, of course, always be better. Um, and yes, I've been in clubs, radio clubs, and all that. And I always want to be a little better. I want to improve things because this is an experimental hobby. So, and I learned to know a few people also that I like that we have. So the remote station I'm talking about, many of you have already seen the antennas. The antennas you see on the Nature Cam 2, I think it is the antennas I'm using, but that is up at my brother. I'm working this remote. I have the front of the radio. Let's see if I can show that without taking out any cables. I should be able to. I can even take out that. I'm not going to transmit. So this, yeah, it's bright now with lights, and so it's the front of a radio. It's an ICOM. Yeah. If you're working for ICOM and want to sponsor this, contact me. It's an ICOM IC 700, 7100, or 7100, or yeah, never mind. It's an ICOM. And after that, I have a little box connected to the internet. A special box made from some Sweden. Very popular to run remote equipment, radios mostly. And on the other side, at my brother, where the antennas is, I have the radio, the radio part connected to a box, and lots of other boxes and stuff. So I can control the radio from here. I don't have it physically here. I have no antennas here whatsoever. Yeah. So now you understand, if I mention remote now and then, you understand the setup. Enough about that. I don't even know if there is any people here and so on, because I didn't take up the correct window. Okay. So if you have any question on the way, please let me know. Don't be shy or any so. The thing is, I'm going to explain short, in general, about what this is. As you understand, maybe it's a radio where we transmit radio waves. And I'm going to talk about different bands. And that is not rock bands, it's different bands. And when by bands, we talk about different frequencies. And we are allocated on many bands on frequency. We have a special location on the band that is all around the world that we as a radio amateur can use. Outside that frequency range on the different bands, it's lots of commercial stuff, it's military stuff and so on. But this is a global hobby, it's a hobby. So we are allocated special frequencies where we can work on the bands, different bands. The bands, in short, is we have a 10 meter, we have 12 meter, we have, let's see, 15 meter, 17 meter, 20 meter band, 30 meter band, 40 meter band, and we have 80 meter band and 160 meter band. And we can say a little bit, it's like short wave, long wave, middle wave kind of bands. That is on the high frequency HF. That is what people most commonly use, so do I. But sometimes, if you have checked this stream, you've seen I'm monitoring FT8 on 40 meter. That is a special mode. I will go into those a little later. But 40 meter band is on HF. Today and yesterday and so on, I'm not on HF. I am on the VHF, very high frequency. That's 2 meter band and 70 centimeter band. 2 meter band outside those it's very commonly used for lots of stuff. You should really, like, if you just knew it's all from car keys to whatever. It can be lots of things. It's weather stations talking to each other and so on. And that's also quite common on 70 centimeter outside our part of the band. It's a well used band in cities and so on for different sensors sending information and so on. And yeah, so that is what I've been monitoring the last couple of days, and that's also what I'm going to focus a little bit on. But this 2 meter band, yeah, as I mentioned in the beginning, I were going to talk a little bit what you can do with hobby. It's not only like hello, secure, and talk to someone. That's called phone, by the way, when you use a microphone, a voice, and talk to someone. Quite common. I think it might, yeah, before this FT8 came, that was one of the most common modes that you use the voice and talk and try to reach as far as possible and so on. And of course, Morse or telegraphic, beep, 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 Morse code is also very common mode. And that is common on both HF and VHF and so on. I would almost say that CW or Morse code is more common on VHF 2 meter band, VHF or UHF centimeter band, and so on. But there is lots of other things you can do, especially on the 2 meter band. It's quite common. But before I will go into that, I will show you something. I will hide myself by here. You see a picture, because you need, when I talk about this frequency and bands and so on, I said I will keep it simple as possible, but at the same time I want you to learn a little bit. This is the word. Here is the Earth. It's our planet. It's green. Well, not for long, but it's green here. This is the Earth, and what you see here on is different layers in the atmosphere or ionosphere. And you see you have D, E, F1 and F2. That's the layers that protect us. And every frequency we use have different approach. I can't find the correct word. Let's say approach. 2 different layers. If I send, for example, on a certain frequency, let's take the D, the E layer. The D layer is only available when it's light, daytime. At evenings and late and nights and so on, this layer disappears. But of course it is still available on the other side that has daytime. But here, if it's day here, we have this. When that is up and we work on, for example, 80 meters. 80 meters is like, yeah, then, yeah, 3 megahertz or so, but we don't go into all the megahertz. But 80 meters uses the D layer and bounce the signal Uh, and that makes it daytime, it's shorter distance. But when it disappears, it will bounce further up and you can reach longer. And so it is with all of the frequencies. They bounces off different layers. So that's why one band can be really good daytime, but then all of a sudden it doesn't work. But then a new band open up at the evenings and so on, so you can use that and reach further and so on. So the signals are bouncing on those layers in the atmosphere. That's what we are using to reach as far as possible, find the right band for the right time, and use, of course, antennas and so on that improves that with different angles and so on to reach out as far as possible. So each band has its own specifics and also reach differently depending on daytime or nighttime or evening or morning and so on, and which of those layers we are using. If you have a frequency that is too high for any of these signals layers, that will just pass through all the layers and go out to space and not being heard. If no aliens snap it up, take it up and calls back, but I will not hear them. So that is how the bands works and the layers. Enough about that. If you have any question about that, just throw them in the chat, and I will try this one. But as I say, I will try to keep it on a little easy level here now. But it could be good to know, so we understand. Because now we are talking about 2-meter band. That's what I have been monitoring now for a couple of days, 2-meter band. And as I said, that is a very high frequency, VHF. And that means it's a little bit special. On 20-meter band, I can, if it's a good day, good propagations, it's lots of things that need to be, it needs to be good propagation. And that means that, many things should be synced up in the layers. Remember I said I'm taking it like easy. Or simple, but there's lots of different factors that make how far I will reach and if I will reach and so on. But in a good day I can reach around the world if I have the quite good equipment, of course. But on VHF that is not the case. That will not happen. It could happen, but then you have enormous luck and you have a big station and it perfectly synced up everything, all this stuff that needs to be perfect is perfect. But it normally you don't reach that far because that is a band that uses you need to have the antennas on the horizon. It is almost like what you can see, you can work. If it is, it's working through the horizons, But there is different things on 2-meter band. It sounds like, but then you can't do much. Yes, of course you can. You can work something called satellites. Let's minimize my camera a little bit here now. That was not the camera. Could have fooled me. Let's see. So I do like that then. Let's do like this. And move me, baby. Here we see a satellite. Yes, this is a small satellite. It's an amateur radio satellite. This specific one that this one holds in hand is created and made by a 16-year-old. There's lots of this up in circulating the air, or in the air, yeah, but in circulating the Earth. And they have something called repeaters. A repeater is also quite common. It's more common, to be honest, in a repeater is a station that is often with good antenna on a high place, on a mountain or so. So on 2 meter band, we can use those repeaters to reach much further. That means we are going to that repeater's frequency, and we talk, and some other on even a further way on the other side of that mountain maybe, or can use that also. So we can talk. It's linking us together. Yeah, that's how it works. But when you use those satellites, you can also use those. And they often go around like this. With this one is a homemade antenna they build, and going around and follow those satellites, and then they can reach really far. And as you see her, she has a radio. Some has 2 radios, because when you work repeaters, there is one signal channel or frequency that we are using when we talk, and we are listening on another one. We don't need to adjust that. It's called split. The radios has that, but sometimes some of those that chases these satellites, they have 2 radios. This one has 1 radio because, yeah, you can see it's a mobile radio, and it has this split and all that. So that is also one thing that, here's another picture of one that is tracking a satellite and uses that to communicate with some other country that it would be impossible elsewhere to communicate with if on 2 meter band, if not having a huge antennas and propagation is perfect. Like many has those that they are really interested in 2 meter band. They use it like this. This is called stacked. This is antennas for the 2 meter band that is stacked. And the more you have, the more gain, the more power you get out of the antennas and into the antennas, and so on. So they, of course, you can work far if it is good propagation and you have good equipment, and because VHF is a 2 meter band and also 70 centimeters and even 6 meter is bands that are really depending on what's happening in our atmosphere. It can be improved by aurora, something that when it comes to HF almost kills the band. If it's a powerful aurora, northern light, it will almost kill the other bands. But 2 meter band, 70 centimeter and 6 meter, and there is even 23 centimeters, but I will not go into those really high frequencies. I have no, but they can gain a little bit. You can reach further if the propagation, if it's a good aurora, it's good and bad auroras depending on which height the aurora, the northern light is. But we don't go in deeper into that. But then they can reach on 2-meter band, can reach further. There is something called, in summer, for example, when the weather changes, if we have like big weather changes, like, oh, it's been really hot, really hot, really hot, and now it comes out really low. At autumn, for example, that is a good period for 2-meter band, because then there is things happening in the atmosphere that the 2-meter band can use to reach further. There's lots of those things, and it is sporadic ease, and lots of things happening in our atmosphere that can improve. Now I'm back to the teenage again. Improve for the range on 2-meter band, 70 centimeter, and so on and so on. And those things, some of those things that happens on the HF high frequencies that I mentioned earlier, it's bad for those band, but it could be good for the high frequency, very high frequency, and so on. So, and what else can you do here? Moon bouncing is also on a 2-meter band. Then they have, you see, this is not that high. You don't need a super high tower for that, but you need to have it in a special angle, and those has a rotor so that it follows the moon. I'm not doing I'm trying to. I will do like that. I follow the moon, because else it looks like I'm doing something else. Well, I'm not that kind of person. No. So that means they're sending transmit on high frequency, high power. I mean, on 2-meter band, special frequency, often with CW or some digital mode, and then it bounces, the signal bounces. It's not that strong when it comes to the moon. It has lost a lot of power, but it bounces on the moon, and someone far, far away can pick it up. So that is also some do that. But as you see, it takes lots of antennas and so on. So it maybe not that common, but there is many doing that. And these towers or antennas, it will follow. It has often automatically point at that, and it follow the moon, so it can go both up like this, adjusting vertically more, and horizontal, and goes like that. So yes, and now you see here in the back side on the page, that's where I have been doing now. I can minimize myself. I've seen enough of me. So this is now a mode I'm working and listening to it mostly now, because I have on 2-meter band, I don't have those beams, it's called, or those big antennas where you can direct. I have a vertical antenna, and that is mostly used to use on repeaters, because they use vertical antennas. I only have a vertical antenna, and it's a combo antenna for 2-meter and 70 centimeter. It's not that super high up either. As I said in the beginning, 2-meter and VHF is depending on height. If you have really high, and if you're up on a mountain and you have a big antenna that you can see long, you have clear in to the horizon, that makes it much more possible for you to reach further also. When working HF, my antenna I have, the one that you see on the cameras, that is for the high frequency. That isn't of course, height is good for those as well, but it's not that because we have a takeoff, it takes up much further and bounces in the atmosphere much further, much closer. So you don't need to be on a mountain. Of course, as I said, if you have a high tower, it improves, but it isn't that necessary. Sorry for having trouble finding the correct word sometimes. Quite tired, to be honest. I haven't slept. I haven't had a little nap in the sofa, but yeah. So, but how come I can see those dots here? The dots you see here, it's what I heard with my simple vertical antenna. And it may be not looking that much. Not if you have seen how far I heard before. If you've seen those streams I did, well, several times when there were blue dots. The blue dots, if you saw that, that was on 40 meters. I heard New Zealand. I heard almost the whole world, from Asia to South America to North America, yeah, and of course Europe. So, and Australia, New Zealand, and whatnot. But that will not happen on this band. So, remember what I said earlier, that this is a different frequency, it uses the atmosphere differently, and so on. So this, what I see with my simple antenna, is through a meteor shower that we are passing through now. Listen here. That sound you heard now was someone calling in this mode. So if I take this and see if I can, oh come on, like that. Here you see it's from the software. There's different software. This mode I'm at now is especially, oh, I need to lower the radio. Now someone transmitted. Now I lower the audio into the radio. So this is someone transmitting and calling CQ, possibly, probably. Can I get a hang of that one? We do like that. Oh, there is so much. Let's look like that. And we. Try to hide it. So what you see now here, this one is what strong signal. This is one close to me that is also into this and doing this. So when he transmits, it's a really strong signal. But what this software do, what we do, we send our signals out, and it bounces on the meters that we are passing. Is it Poseidon? Can't say exactly what it's called in English, but we're passing a meteor shower now, and the signal bounces on those and bounces back. So it comes in bursts, small bursts that this software picks up. I would never. Oh, no. Sorry, I need to see here. Is it that one? Yeah. Oh, that text shouldn't be there. Oh, well. No, it isn't. I would never hear a station in Russia. This is quite far. It's almost down at to the border to Ukraine, for example. I would never hear that station normally, because I have only a vertical antenna on this band, and yeah, it's a low mounted antenna and all that. So, but in this special mode, this mode is made for meteor showers and bouncing up. Yeah, I think it's used for moon also when they bounce off the moon and so on. That can pick up those small bursts, because we're talking a few seconds. That signal hits that meteor scatter and debris, all that bounces back, and we can capture that, and we can have a communication through those with the radio waves bouncing off the meteors. I think that is quite amazing, to be honest. There is other things you can do like that. There is on the even higher frequency, 30 centimeters. So some people use rain scatter to bounce the frequencies on the rain, so they reach further. And yeah, as I mentioned, you can use the moon. It's quite common when, especially down south, where I lived before, that was quite common to use airplanes, to bounce the signals on airplanes. You have the tracker, you saw the planes, and you try to aim where the planes passed. Some use those automatic that could follow as far as small. As I showed on the moon bouncing, they have these antennas that can follow the moon, but here they follow an airplane instead, and that give a bounce off the airplane, so you can reach further away, a longer distance. So it's quite, and yeah, we have the satellites, we have different, it's called scatter, these meteor scatters, where we can bounce the signals. We can bounce it from airplanes, we bounce it from the moon. Yeah. And also on 2 meter band, we can receive pictures sometimes from, for example, the space station. And there is also a repeater on the space station that sometimes we can use. So when they passing out, but that is, it sounds, yeah, but that would be great. Yeah, but it's tricky. Remember those I showed earlier with those antennas? Oh no, I always get it wrong. Sorry about that. Sorry. No, I did it again. There is so many windows in this software, so when I try to minimize one, I do mistakes. Sorry. This is also this setup many use when they are trying to communicate through the repeater on the space station, ISS. And then they can't just stand and hold it. They need to track it, and they need to follow it, and they need to also turn this, because the signal when it comes, and if a signal, if an antenna is like that, but a signal comes like this, it may sound strange, and it could be a big difference on how strong the signal is. So there are lots of adjusting and so on. And they need to keep a steady pace, because there is something called Doppler effect. If something passes, the signal will be distorted, or it sounds strange It's like, you know, when a car passing by, and that is the same with the radio signal. The signal, if it goes like beep 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 beep, beep, and then it is like it gets higher pitch, the pitch change. So it's tricky to do it, but that is the same setup they use when they track the satellite. It's the same way they often do when they track and try to use the space station. So there is lots of things here, and there is lots of modes, digital modes, lots of modes. You can send pictures, it's called slow scan TV and so on. That is what ISS do sometimes. They have in the staff there is one that is a ham radio operator, and they transmit pictures sometimes, and they have the repeater, and sometimes they talk through the radio to Earth, to schools, most commonly universities and different schools, and they put a radio up there and they have communication, and the people can ask questions and so on. But remember that space station goes really fast, so it's limited time window when they can talk. Then now we are in Africa, okay, can't be heard anymore. But since they are quite high, they also have a quite wide range in that way. So this is a little bit about what I've been doing, or what my computer has been doing, because I haven't done much. I don't transmit that much on this mode, because I don't have. Of course, I could be lucky and get it's called QSO, but of course I could be lucky to get a contact, but I don't see to do that. So I just wanted to have a little short, but of course it's never short when I have something. But I wanted to tell a little bit about the whole hobby, not to be too complicated, even if I talked a lot about frequencies and so on. Hopefully you get some hint of this, because you can't cover, it's impossible to cover this in a little session like this. But I think I understand, and if you feel like you think you understand, I am happy. I'm happy with that. So this mode is called MSK. It is a mode that is used. You see here up here. You here MSK 144. 144 is the frequency of 2 meter band. I am at like 144.360. That's where we listen for this type of traffic. So this is what I heard from yesterday or last night. Not that much maybe. If I compare to my friend, I don't really want to, but I can show. You see, he has a station on that's my friend Ulf. He has a radio station at our home. He has another QTH. It's called that. QTH is where your transmitter is. It's not where you live. It's where that is a code. Let's call it codes. When someone says, "What's your QTH?" Then he said, "Yeah, it's on that place." It's where the antenna and the transmitter is. And you see how much he has heard. Instead, it's more, but he also have like those beams, not a vertical antenna he's listening with. is listening, and he is high up. It's a really good spot for this band. So we can't even compare. It's no. He can work much further in normal circumstance. He can work things that I am not even reaching or hearing. So, but you see here, all this he has heard from this mode, meteor scatter, signal bouncing off the meteors and picked up. And I don't know where he has sent a little bit, where this is where he has been heard, but he is like me, he hasn't transmit that much, but he has been heard in down to Hungary. That's quite far. On this band, that is far. If it wouldn't be on the high frequency, that would be a normal day, and we were almost like, oh, I want to reach further. We can do like this. I have almost not transmit. I have been heard in Finland and in Germany. But if you take, for example, just so you understand what I'm talking about, and let's see. Oh no, I can't do that because I haven't been here. I haven't been on 40 meter lately. So it only saves for 24 hours, that's the max. But I would have been heard almost around the world, give and take, a few countries, of course. So that is my little special about it, because I thought I would try to. I know I'm not good, and I'm trying to explain in a language that isn't my native language, also. So, yeah, but I wanted to try to explain a little bit, so you guys could understand a little better what I am doing, or what when I stream the radio. And I hope you guys understand a little more about what I'm doing. And as I said, this hobby it has so many different sides and so on. I've been scraping on the surface now. I haven't mentioned everything and so on. And yeah, but if someone is interested to just drop me a question whenever, and I will try to explain. I will end this now. If you have been watching and so on, and I thank you for that. And if you're watching, please throw the likes. It means lots for us as the channel. It does really help when we get likes and so on. That's how the algorithms works here on YouTube and many other sites as well. So give it a like, and if you watch this later on, be kind, give a like. If you don't, well, I'm not going to hate you. But I would appreciate it if you did. And don't be scared to comment later on and so on. And all that, all this. So I would say stay safe, have fun, and bye.